the youngest racer in Formula 1. I was 17 when I started my first race, and at the time I didn't even have my driving license.
In the high-octane world of Formula 1, one name has stood out, leaving an indelible mark on the sport's history. Max Verstappen. Join us on a thrilling journey to uncover how he revolutionised F1. Verstappen, while a teenager, won 10 races overall and 6 straight ones while racing for Van Amersfoort Racing. He finished third in the Drivers' Championship with 411 points, bringing attention to his abilities. Red Bull, though, had the upper hand. Since his karting days, Franz Tost, the then squad principal of Toro Rosso, Red Bull's junior squad, has had his eye on Verstappen's wild racing style and potential. Verstappen was 16 years old in 2014 when he participated in F3 racing with Van Amersfoort Racing. He was also the youngest driver in the history of the sport when he was promoted directly to F1 in 2015 at the age of 17. How did a kid, who was then too young to obtain a conventional driver's license in the majority of nations throughout the world, manage to drive at the highest level of racing at the age of 17? The FIA, which oversees Formula 1, received a presentation with this precise rationale. As a response, the FIA enacted new regulations that the next year would likewise align with laws governing normal driving. No racer under the age of 18 would be permitted to participate in Formula 1. Verstappen, though, was unaffected by this restriction because he had turned 18 by the time it went into force in 2016. He won his first Formula 1 race in Spain that same year. Verstappen also holds the record for being the youngest driver to compete in Formula 1 for all time, thanks to this regulation. Not just this age restriction regulation was introduced by his presence. His aggressive driving style prompted the introduction of another significant Formula 1 regulation. Max Verstappen, the star driver for Red Bull, was unreserved in his criticism of the planned rule change of Formula 1 for 2026, claiming they would make the cars impossible to drive. By evenly distributing power generation between combustion engines and electric motors, the suggested changes aim to increase the reliance on batteries. Christian Horner, the team principal for Red Bull, has previously issued a warning that this would force drivers to downshift on straightaways in order to efficiently recharge batteries. Verstappen expressed similar worries to Horner to the media after winning the Australian Grand Prix on Sunday, saying, "I've been talking about this as well with the team, and I've seen the data on the simulator too. I think that looks very bad," he continued. 400 or 500 meters before the finish line at Monza, if you accelerate aggressively on the straight, you must downshift aggressively because it's quicker. That, in my opinion, is not the way to go. The Dutch driver also expressed his concerns about teams and engine suppliers engaging in a costly race to build the most powerful powertrain, adding, "The problem is, it looks like it is going to be an ICE competition, like whoever has the strongest engine will have a big benefit. But in my opinion, Formula 1 shouldn't aim to accomplish that, since doing will reignite a protracted development battle and make it very expensive to acquire a few extra horsepower here and there." Verstappen commented, "And then you have the active aerodynamics, which you can't control. The system will control it for you, which then makes it very awkward to drive because I prefer to control it myself." This was in reference to the rising level of automation within the cockpit. "When you're behind someone, you could require extra front or back, things of that nature," he continued. "I don't believe it's the best course of action if the system starts to regulate that for you. Additionally, the weight is increasing once more. Therefore, we need to take this seriously as 2026 is not that far away." More races were won and points were scored by the Red Bull driver than any other driver in the history of the sport. Although Max Verstappen acknowledged that his season was not perfect, it will go down in Formula 1 history as one of the finest. Verstappen altered the course of Red Bull and has often demonstrated his necessity for the contest. He not only dominated Formula 1, but also changed the course of history. Max began his first ever season of auto racing in 2014 after moving directly from karts to Euro Formula 3. His inherent skill was so great that his age and lack of experience didn't really matter. He embarked on an absurd run of form in the middle of the season, winning 6 straight races. At this time, Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren and Renault were among the 5 Formula 1 teams vying for the services of Max Verstappen to join their junior programs. He was also beginning to have an amazing talent for driving in the rain, and one of his outstanding wet weather performances is what initially drew Helmut Marko's attention. It was evident there was truly something very, very exceptional during a race at Norris Ring, a neat track in Nuremberg where he was around 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap per faster than everyone else in the field. At the age of 16, Max went on a run of 6 straight victories in Euro F3, which essentially sparked a bidding war amongst the teams that recruit him.
You're driving for Red Bull, so get ready. Then we got to Barcelona, a completely new car for me. Yeah, everything was new. Immediately the car felt nice to drive, so that was a big plus.
It ultimately came down to Mercedes and Red Bull, and there were rumours that Max had visited with Helmut Marko prior to the 2014 German Grand Prix, but had chosen to join with Mercedes. At the time, losing Max wasn't a crazy choice for Helmut and Red Bull. While Red Bull, while still a top team, had countless other Red Bull junior drivers that Max would still have to compete against in Formula 3 or Formula 2 for even the chance to get in Formula 1, Mercedes had just started their hybrid era dominance and looked to be a team of the future. Due to the problems of the dependability of his cars, Max did not compete 2 of the first 3 Grand Prix. He overcame a 46 different points of Charles Leclerc Ferrari to win the title by 146 points after that, becoming almost unstoppable. His 454-point haul for the year was a season best. He said that it was challenging to be a perfectionist, but he tried. I expect that of myself. That is something that both the team and I require of one another. We always debate it in an open forum. On several topics, disagreement is common. That is how life is, but it is always crucial to be open and honest with one another and point out when anything is wrong. He competes and manages his tyres in a manner that is ideal for this fast-moving Red Bull squad. Adrian Newey commented Verstappen's genuine patience and cited his victory at the 2022 Hungarian Grand Prix as an example. He is a perfect fit for the slick-running Red Bull team because of the way he races and manages his tyres, Newey said. To Sky Sports, Newey remarked, his car control is absolutely incredible. That is what distinguishes him. And for me, his highlight race was in Hungary. After his K-shaft broke in the pit lane, he became in a position 10 on the grid. Then in order to regulate the clutch without using DRS throughout the race, we had clutch difficulty. Red Bull had the superior vehicle in the second part of the 2022 Formula 1 season, although there were several races where Ferrari and Leclerc were the teams to beat. When a driver's errors, bad tactics, or mechanical issues prevented a championship battle, who was on hand to clean up the mess virtually always? Verstappen. Ferrari must be feeling stomach blow, knowing they will be penalised for any mistakes they make and that they must perform flawlessly to defeat Red Bull every weekend. Verstappen has advanced this year, according to the team's manager, Christian Horner. Winning the championship last year really took the pressure off his shoulders, he explained in an interview. He just matured and shifted gears. He adapted to the new regulations brilliantly, got his head down, and just drove some incredible races. When you look at the Grand Prix victories, you can see some incredible races. He was without doubt the season's best driver. Max's spectacular ascension from this era will always leave a lasting impact. He originally started racing in automobiles in 2014, then switched to karts in 2013, and then took the F1 world by storm in 2015. With so much pressure on him and so many people rooting for him to fail, Max Verstappen stood up and disproved them all. Red Bull and Helmut Marko put their faith in him, and he lived up to their expectations. In the highest level of racing, he redefined what a 17-year-old could do, and what's most astounding is that he achieved it all without being old enough to get a driver's license. Max Verstappen's journey transformed F1, challenging norms and redefining possibilities. Discover how this young sensation altered the sport's course. Subscribe for more thrilling insights into the world of racing.